Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Paranormal Lens, sponsored by Jott-Nyx Paranormal. I'm Jamie Widener. I will be your host this evening, and as always, I am joined by Mr. Chad Thomas,
Hey,
co-host
everybody.
extraordinaire. Good evening, sir.
How are you, sir?
Living a dream. What's wrong? It's Tuesday, right? How can anything be wrong in the world? We're here for
Exactly.
another episode. So, I don't know where everybody else is in the world, but here in South Central Pennsylvania, it was a rainy and dreary day. It's going to be followed by a rainy and dreary day, which is going to be followed by a rainy and dreary day. So,
Which followed a rainy and dreary
which
day. Yes.
followed, yeah. So this is the bright spot. Here we are.
Yeah.
Boom.
So,
So, how was
but
your week, sir? What's going on?
I was going to ask you, how was your Krampus knot?
It was uneventful. I'm still here. So,
Okay, and
you
the
know.
kids are still here, so no.
Oh, wait. I'm supposed to check on them. I'll be
Jeez.
right back.
Anyway,
Everybody made it. Everybody made it this year. I'm surprised, but um, so far so good.
so yeah, no, it's been an uneventful week. Just
Perfect. We
it's
like those, right?
yeah. I mean, we already had our holiday party at work, so it must be that season. I guess I should start buying Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, that too. Dang it.
yeah. I mean, we know it's Christmas because Jim's with us.
Hey, there's Jim. Good evening. Well, it is that all that stuff, like all those pressures and stressors of getting things and being places, and things pop up on your calendar that you were like, apparently you said yes to, but you have no idea when or how or
Or
where.
somebody else put them on the calendar for you,
Well,
Jamie.
that's how it always works. But I'm apparently I was in the loop. So um, we have a holiday concert this weekend for one of the dancers, and we have the next weekend we have a show, and boom, 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 all that happens, and all of a sudden here's Christmas. So
Oh, and
buckle up, yeah,
there's a
buckle
holiday
up and
concert,
right on.
Jamie. There's a holiday concert Wednesday that you don't want to miss either. So
What?
it's the school holiday concert on Wednesday night.
Like tomorrow night or
No,
next?
next Wednesday.
Okay, cool. I can
You
do
have a
that.
week.
Good.
Yep.
Good. I might be shopping. I mean, sometimes to decide to shop tomorrow. So okay, whatever. I guess it's everybody's life, right? This time of
Exactly.
year, everybody's on the hustle, on the bustle. And it's like the annual miracle where it all just kind of happens and it all just comes together. And December 26th. Now you're trying to find receipts. And
Uh-huh.
or wondering what you could change out with somebody else. So, um, it's all good. It all works.
Yep. Santa's made a lot of visits already.
All
So
right. Well, cool. Cool. Thanks, Jim.
glad to hear
Were you,
that.
were you traveling with Krampus the other night, Wednesday or Tuesday night? Maybe. Well,
So
speaking of Krampus, which is a folklore piece from Germany,
mhm.
uh, we're here tonight to talk about urban legends.
Okay.
And this is going to be, as you saw with the very clever and cool graphic at the beginning. Thank you, Chad. All I have to do is ask and things happen. See, this is the annual miracle, or the weekly miracle in our case. We are going to talk this week about international urban legends. Staying
Okay.
out of the U.S. completely. We're off to other countries. We're going to take a trip around the world, perhaps a road trip. Not claiming I'm saying it now, but
Mhm.
maybe it's a road trip. In some places, certainly can be, but there are going to be some that we're going to need a plane for sure. So,
Okay.
or boat, or both. I don't know. So you guys can decide that. So, sir, without any further ado, you want to dig in?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right.
I'm excited.
So we did an episode of Urban Legends. Like I said, back at this episode 21. It's available on all the streaming services. You can go back and find it. And the first thing we talked about was a definition. Like, so what are urban legends? And according to Merriam-Webster, which is a dictionary for your younger folks, it means it's a book full of information, um, not the internet itself. Although the interwebs do have apparently all this stuff now. Go figure. It's an often lurid story or anecdote that is based on hearsay and widely circulated as true. So it could be a lot of things, right? But usually it's a fantastical thing, and it just happens either it's so in the stream of consciousness on a regular basis that you just kind of absorb it and accept it, or it's just so unbelievably wild that it has to be true. So we'll get to why that is.
Okay.
Urban legends have a set of characters, a plot, and are passed along by word of mouth or the internet/social media with little to no basis in truth. While most are fabrications, some are based on true documented events, but with a little extra fact or spice added. We're all the heroes in our own stories, right?
Right.
Urban legends are popular and last for so long simply because we all like a good story. Many are meant to scare us into not doing something, like picking up hitchhikers or going places alone or just doing bad things in general. And many have a moral built into them as well. Again, we've covered a lot of the U.S. urban legends back on episode 21. So let's see what's happening elsewhere around the world.
Okay.
Okay, so buckle up. You ready? You got your popcorn?
No,
No. Okay.
I
Well,
forgot, but
snooze you lose. Extra butter would be good with this. I'm saying. All right, we're going to start in France, or France as they call it there.
okay.
They call it France. This is the tale of La Dame Blanche. So you're driving at night and you see a hitchhiker dressed in all white. You let her into your car. She's nice and friendly, and she tells you she wants to go to a house in particular, but acts more and more nervous as you drive. She tells you to be careful on the road. Suddenly, the road reaches a dangerous turn. She shouts in fear. You glance at her and you realize that she's gone, and the car is locked from the inside. You remember the house she wanted to reach, and the day after, you go there to that house and you meet a friendly elderly couple. You tell them about the lady and you describe her. They become sad and they say, "Well, you just described our daughter, but she died on the road 5 years ago." Bah, bah, bah. Okay.
Yeah. Why would you go to the house the next day?
It's because you do, man. It's what you do. Yeah, exactly. I would be like, nope, nothing to do with that one.
Yeah.
Never going on that road again. And I don't care if I had to go, a million miles out of the way to get somewhere. Uh-uh.
Right.
The next is from Switzerland, and it's called the Schmaltzy. And you can spell that any way you want to.
Okay.
Schmaltzy. Schmaltzy is a pitch black demon who accompanies Shimmerklaas, who's also known as Santa Claus, and kidnaps the naughty kids by forcing them into a sack and abandoning them in the woods, never to be seen again. So, you want to be a naughty kid in Switzerland?
Nope.
Nope. The next is from Hungary, and it is called Gloomy Sunday, or the Hungarian Suicide Song. Laszlo Mariosi composed Gloomy Sunday in the early 1930s, and it has been linked or attributed to 18 suicides, including the composer's after his 69th birthday. The song has actually been covered by Billie Holiday and Bjork. And unless you listen to WXPN in Philadelphia, you probably don't know who Bjork is. But she's great and you should look her up. Bjork. Chad, this one's one that I think you might know something about.
Okay.
Excuse me. This one is from Ireland, and it's called the Banshee.
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar?
Yep.
Yeah. So banshees can appear in many forms, including an elderly woman, a young woman, or even an animal. They are often described as liminal creatures, being part woman and part fairy. The name banshee is an old Irish phrase and means fairy woman. Banshees are considered to be peaceful mourners and as the warners of death. They are believed to be the spirits of people who died young or violently. Banshees travel through sound and smell and are usually heard in the middle of the night. If seen, they are said to vanish into a cloud of mist. Poof.
Okay.
Okay. This one's a little morbid, pun intended perhaps when you hear it. It's from the UK, and it's called the Dead Body Train. A London urban legend has it that a train full of dead bodies once made the journey through a tunnel between Whitechapel Tube Station and the Royal London Hospital. The train was appropriately dubbed the Dead Body Train. It is believed that the train operated in the beginning of the 1900s during a time of extreme poverty and disease in London, which almost makes the idea of a dead body train something that could really have existed. Whitechapel is well known because of Jack the Ripper,
Right.
right? So it's already got a creepy, ominous kind of vibe going on. And rumors that temporary morgues were set up under the ticket hall there aren't helping the historic reputation of the place all that much. There have also been reports of a now closed tunnel, which some believe may have once led to the Royal London Hospital, which would make sense for this line.
Right.
These reports have ensured that people are convinced that the dead body train was a lot more than just an unnerving urban legend. I don't know about you, but when you're on the social medias and such, and like YouTube is a good spot for this, and TikTok and a few others. But there are a lot of videos about people doing urban exploring.
Hmm.
And our good friend David Dermidi is a previous partaker in this activity. But once all it takes is to get inside of a place and you're there,
Right.
and you can go and go and go. But the tube system in London, and much like the subway systems here in the U.S. In like New York and Boston, there's a lot of spots that are just not used anymore or underused that are more or less abandoned. So
Correct.
you can really
Hmm.
find things like this, and then stories just will go and go and go, especially if you don't come back, right?
Yep.
All right. So the next one's from Scotland, and it's called Abandoned Annie. The area known as Real Mary King's Close in Edinburgh was devastated by the plague. Rumors abounded that those struck by the disease were left to die in the streets. In the 18th century, the area became a ghost town, its buildings and homes abandoned and closed off. The Real Mary King's Close inevitably became the focus of ghost hunters and psychics over the years, all of whom have tried to draw out the ghosts of horrors past. In 1992, psycho Aiko Gibo visited the close to film a documentary on supernatural incidents. Having found nothing spooky enough for her liking, Giba was about to leave when she came to a halt at a specific room. She initially refused to set foot in it, as she felt a heavy sense of dread, but she eventually went in. Afterward, she said the only reason she did so is because the specter of a little girl asked her to enter. The girl told her name was Annie and that she died long ago of the plague. Annie was sad because when she was alive, her family abandoned her, and she lost her doll. The little girl also tugged on Gibo's hand. Gibo went off to buy a Barbie doll for Annie and left it in the middle of the room. Ever since, the single Barbie has grown into a pile of toys and even money left by tourists. A guide at the close has recounted his own experiences with Annie, claiming that he once threw a coin across the room as he was leaving with a group of tourists. He also stated that several people have felt an unseen hand touching theirs. Some of them became physically ill after visiting.
Okay.
Okay. That's not an unusual tale from places we've been to as well,
Exactly.
in our investigations and such. So,
There's a lot of places with piles of toys because one
yep,
person leaves a toy, and then that becomes the thing to do.
yep, absolutely. The next comes from the Netherlands, and it's called Wit Weaven. As told, the Wit Weaven were mysterious creatures who would dance in circles and try to mislead men and women. They could not bear the sun and had a kind of ghostly appearance. Witweaven are said to inhabit ancient sites, including wells, burial mounds, and foggy moors, where they will either help or harm mortals depending on how they are treated by them. So, again, there's a good reason not to go somewhere,
Hmm.
just in case, and places you shouldn't be anyway. The next two are from Germany.
Okay.
The first is called Belsnickel. Tales say the Belsnickel would come a few days before Christmas, kidnapping naughty children, putting them in a sack, and beating them. However, if you're on the nice list, finger quotes up on that, he was supposed to leave candy for good children. Sounds a bit like the next one. If you remember maybe hearing of Krampus before,
Yep. Yep.
sir? Okay, as we just had Krampus not on Tuesday evening. Krampus is a popular legend in Central Europe, though thought to come from the pagans. Now associated with Christians, he is a half devil, half goat creature that punishes bad children, hitting them with sticks or even eating them and taking them to hell. The result is children in Germany are particularly well behaved in December.
Only in December.
Only in December. So, that takes me somewhere here, Chad. And you got kids, so you understand
Mhm.
this. We were kids, so I think we always understood this. But, the Santa Claus is watching thing, is meant to be all year long.
Right.
However, we think if we're extra good just for a couple weeks in December, all the bad crap we did all year long
Goes
is
away.
absolved, right?
Exactly. But
Yeah.
the elf on the shelf is only here during December, Jamie.
True. True. Maybe that's what we're missing here. We need something
Uh-huh.
other than the elf all the rest of the year. All right, I'll be happy to market something for somebody who wants to make one. No problem there. I could use that in our house.
Uh-huh.
All right, the next one is from Finland, and it's called a naki. Nakki, Naki. In Finland, we have the legend of Naki, a shape-shifting water spirit who lives in murky pools and under bridges. According to legend, Naki will pull children who lean over the bridge railings to look at their reflections under the water. So, don't lean over the bridge.
Yeah. Jim has a comment here.
It is, sir. It
Oh,
is.
holy cow! Some scary stuff. Yeah.
Wait, there's more. So we're going to go to Sweden next. We haven't even left Europe yet. Like, holy cow! Uh,
And these are
this is
all
some of
these are all around the Christmas season too.
well, a
So
lot of them are right. That's
yeah.
fair. Now, the next one's called the Silver Arrow, and there's an urban legend about a platform on Stockholm's Blue Metro line in Keimlage, and a train called the Silver Arrow. It's a platform that is no longer in use, and maybe it never has been. It's known as a ghost station where only dead people get off the train. The Silver Arrow is a train that is said to be the only train that stops in Klimlinge. The people on the train have supposedly died somewhere in the metro system, and legend has it that if you get on the Silver Arrow, you won't come back.
Okay.
Bum, bum, bum.
So just to let you know, Bert's trying to decorate his Christmas tree and watch us at the same time.
I can't multitask. I just pay attention to us. The tree will wait. Don't worry about it. It'll get done.
Or he could watch us tomorrow on, all the other
Sure.
ones.
Yeah.
So
And or do both. Watch us tonight and watch us tomorrow.
yeah, there you go.
What? All right. The next one's kind of a Scandinavian thing, coming from Norway, Denmark, and Sweden, kind of
Okay.
crossing all boundaries here. Is called and I'm going to say this poorly, and I apologize from anyone who's Scandinavian, but I'm going to call it the Genganger. 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 Genganger are undead souls with unfinished business in the living world. They will rise from their graves and torment their friends and family. Precautions to keep them in their graves include crucifixes, symbols painted on their coffin, and a 3-time parade around the church before their burial. So
Okay.
think about that from a processional sense. I know there's a different reason why we do processions, but that could be something too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're starting to head a little west. We're moving to Iceland. And this one is called the Nykur, Nykur. Yeah, pronounce as you wish.
Okay.
So, Chad,
Uh-huh.
if on your next visit to Iceland you spot a gray horse standing next to a massive body of water, such as the sea or even a lake, do yourself a favor and look at the horse's hooves. Why, you ask? If they face backwards, you'd likely have a problem. And technically, so does the horse.
Okay.
It is said that this horse, named the Nicor, is a water dwelling beast that sometimes surfaces to lure unsuspecting humans to a watery death. His skin is sticky, so if a person is enchanted by the horse and mounts it, he will not be able to get off again. Instead, he will be dragged along the Nicor's watery home and drowned. Yelling its name at the horse is said to scare it into running back into the water by itself and leaving you alone.
Hmm.
Sound familiar? Perhaps?
Yeah.
We did an episode on something very similar a couple weeks ago in
Mm-hmm.
Scotland, perhaps. Drawing a blank on the name.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We will be talking about Iceland again when we talk about the elves with the funny name. So that'll
Ah,
be coming up in a couple weeks. So
cool. There we
I
go.
like how we're tying everything together here, Jamie.
It's all connected anyway, right?
Yep.
All right, staying in Scandinavia. This one's really interesting. I thought it was rather creepy as well. It's called The Baby in the High Chair. For many years, a Norwegian couple didn't go on a proper holiday. Finally, when everything fell into place one year, they found a trustworthy nanny for their baby boy and planned a long getaway. When the day came for them to depart, the nanny was late. She eventually called to tell that her car was giving her trouble. However, she said that she could call a mechanic and then walk to their home, which is only about 15 minutes away. Reassured by this, the couple strapped their baby in its high chair, kissed him goodbye, and then left for their holiday as they were already late for the airport. They left
Wow.
the back door open for the nanny. One version of this tale has that the nanny arrived to find the door locked, perhaps the wind blew it shut, something like that, so she assumed the couple had the baby with them. She then left. Another version says the nanny was killed after being struck by a truck on her way to the house. She was walking along the road. And yet another says the nanny was an elderly relative of the couple and she died of a heart attack before she could get to their home, perhaps from exertion of doing all the walking.
Uh-huh.
In every version, the couple return home to find their son dead and bloated and still trapped to his high chair.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah. On that note, hey Kyle, what's up?
Hey, buddy. Yeah, exactly. You move.
Yeah.
And I apologize, guys. I'm allergic this week, so I may cough here a time or two. I will try to get away from the microphone and not be in your ear. I apologize in advance. The next one is from Russia, and I absolutely love this one, Chad, and I'll tell you why at the end.
Okay.
It is called Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is the story of a woman who, at times, ate children and lived in a house held up off the ground with chicken feet. Or some tales that it moves around because it's on chicken feet.
Okay.
In other times, she was a helpful sorceress who helped children who were lost in the woods. Either way, she can fly through the air in a mortar and pestle or in an iron kettle and leaves a tempest in her wake. Many a parent or grandparent will tell the darker tale to children who refuse to go to sleep, as Baba Yaga would most definitely get them if they refused. So I know you're a Marvel movies fan, right? Marvel
Hmm.
Cinematic Universe and all that good stuff. And I'm assuming you saw Ant-Man too.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. So there's a part when they are the three guys, Ant Man and his partners are sitting in their security company office, and I believe it's when the bad guy breaks in and is about to take them, and the Russian character tells the tale of the harrowing encounter with Baba Yaga, and there's a great reference to it in that movie. So
Okay.
that's where I first remember it from. Although afterwards, like this tale is not new by any
Right.
means, and it's been around for a very long time, and it's not just Russian. It's all through the Baltics. It's just one of those old tales that
Hmm.
just has some legs and keeps walking. Kind of,
Okay.
kind of like the chicken feet that are moving her house around in the woods. All right, let's cross the pond. We're heading west,
All right.
and we're going to Canada. So this one is called La Chaise Galerie. And this is a tale about lumberjacks who sold their souls to Satan so that they could travel quickly on New Year's Eve to be with their families. And they got there by paddling a canoe through the air. During their trip, one of them got drunk, seems like something lumberjacks in a flying canoe would do,
Uh-huh.
and steered them into a snowbank. And the rest of the travelers killed him so the devil wouldn't take them all away. So, if you were somewhere in Canada, and by the tale here, I would imagine in the Quebec area, and you see a canoe going through the air, now you know why.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. So we're going to move south of the border as we are skipping over the U.S. to this one. And this one's from Mexico, and it's called La Lorna. In Mexican folklore, the weeping woman, La Lorna, is the ghost of a woman who lost her children and now cries while looking for them in the river. She often causes misfortune to those who are near or who hear her. In some variations, she even steals children and drowns them in the lake, perhaps in an attempt to get her children back. This is somewhat similar to the La Siguanaba episode we did a while back, too, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as she would lure men out to the middle of nowhere and drown them in crevasses and rivers and so forth. So the next comes from Trinidad and Tobago. It's called the Soiko Kant. According to lore, a Soiko Kant is essentially a shapeshifter who appears as a lonely old lady during the day, but at night she sheds her skin and transforms into a fireball. It is said that the Soikoyant preys on firstborns or newborn babies and sucks the blood out of them to regain youthfulness and maintain immortality. If the Soikoyant draws enough blood, the victim will die and have to assume her skin. If not, the victim usually wakes up with a blue bruise on some part of their body. Luckily, there are ways to repel the Soikoyant, like placing a plate of rice under your door, or outside your door, I'm sorry, because she will have to count every grain of rice before entering. And if she miscounts, she'll have to recount again.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna find me a bucket of rice, not a
Uh-huh.
plate. So, all right, heading into Central America. We're going to stop in Costa Rica for this one, and it's called La Carreta Sin Bueyes, or the wagon without oxen. The wagon without oxen is about a witch who fell in love with a strict Christian man who wanted nothing to do with her. The witch used some magic to make him fall in love, and the town priest did not approve of it. When the man was going to die, he told her to take his body to the church for his body to be blessed. But when the witch did so, his request was denied because of the sin he carried. So she took the box the body was in, fixed an ox into a wagon, and went to the church. The priest said, "Stop in the name of God," and pardoned the oxen, but the wagon didn't stop. People say you can hear it creaking through town, pulled by the devil's hand.
Hmm.
It's a bit around, it's a little choppy,
Mhm.
but interesting no less. And, we all have those ghost sounds that you just can't explain, like what you're hearing here. Why is that sound here?
Uh-huh.
So, and especially in modern times, there aren't many wagons left out running around in the streets. So could be. The next one is called El Bone and comes from Venezuela and Colombia. We're heading into South America.
Okay.
El Bone is the tale of a creature that has been damned to roam the earth carrying a bag of bones. The creature was once a little boy who lived with his parents in Venezuela. Being an only child, he was spoiled to no end by his parents. Unfortunately, this turned him into a picky and demanding brat. We all know that guy, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
That girl, either way. After insisting on deer meat for dinner one night and becoming extremely angry when his father failed to produce it, the boy stabbed his father in the stomach, pulled out his intestines, and took them to his mother to cook. Although the mother cooked the entrails, she eventually became suspicious at the look of the meat. Realizing what the boy had done, the mother was overcome with grief and let the boy's grandfather deal with the evil child. The grandfather whipped the boy within an inch of his life, and then rubbed chilies and lemon juice in his wounds. That'll learn him.
Uh-huh.
Then the grandfather handed the boy a bag full of his father's bones, and sent a pack of dogs loose on him as the boy ran away. Just before the dogs killed the boy, the grandfather cursed him, and that was the origin of the creature known as El Cibon.
Where d-
What the
where did
what?
that one yeah, where did that one come from? Like,
Well, it sounds like some child abuse, maybe, right?
uh-huh, yeah.
Or something,
Yeah.
or maybe or just somehow the father was killed, and I don't know. They blame the kid. That's crazy talk, but
Yeah.
what a story, right? And
Yep.
that's what urban legends are. They're fantastical. Like, there's no way that could be true, but well, maybe it is.
Right. But
That's
it's
the
been
point.
handed down over time.
Time over time, exactly. All right. So the next one is from Brazil, and it's called Aloria del Bonheiro. In Brazil, all of the kids are scared of the blonde lady that lives in the bathroom, and they say if you flush 3 times and call her name, she will come to get you.
Sounds sort of familiar.
Yep. That's a Candyman, 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 Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
Mhm.
maybe.
You're
Or
doomed now, Jamie.
Bloody Mary. There's so many versions of this,
Uh-huh.
And why is it always a bathroom? Like, what the
I
heck?
Yeah, that one I don't understand.
Well, I mean, there's a vulnerableness in a bathroom, right?
True.
You're literally caught with your pants down in a lot of cases. So, uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna swing over to Africa for a little bit. The next one comes from Egypt, and it's called Abu Rigel Maslokia. Maloka. My
That's
goodness,
easy
my
for you to
Arabic is terrible, and I apologize in advance. Okay, so Abu Rigel Masluka is an Egyptian urban legend about a creature, often translated as the man with the burnt leg, and that's what we're going to go with from here on out,
Okay.
or the man with the skin leg, who is said to kidnap and punish naughty children by taking them away into the mountains, where they are never to be seen again. Parents in Egypt know that one mention of this one legged monster will encourage kids to eat their veggies and get to bed on time. And Maggie knows too.
Yep.
So she's good parents. I'm going to use that here tonight, actually. So I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, the next is from South Africa, and this one's interesting. It's called Governor Van Noot, Noodt, Newt. Spooky castles aren't only found in Europe, Chad. I'm telling you, they're everywhere. In Cape Town, South Africa, stands the infamous Castle of Good Hope, the oldest existing colonial building in the country. The castle has a dark history of slavery and torture, making it the inevitable setting for urban legends of all kinds. One of these tales includes the fate of the governor Peter Gijsberg van Noot. The governor was a cruel man, and among other atrocities, he decided to sentence a group of soldiers to death by hanging in the 1720s. Van Noot didn't deem it necessary to show his face at the execution of these soldiers, and during his absence, he was cursed by the last soldier just before the man died. When the governor's officers went to inform him that the soldiers had been hanged, they found Van Noot dead in his chair. They were, excuse me, there was a look of horror on his face. The story goes further to say that the governor roams the corridors of the castle to this very day, unable to shake the curse. So,
Okay.
since no one else has done so, I'm going to call road trip on this one because I want to see that. All right, or plane
Yep.
trip, boat trip, trip.
Some sort of trip.
All right.
Wait. Oh,
Ah,
see,
there it is. All
and
right.
I don't know. He's got
He's
the
definitely not
delays,
decorating that tree.
okay. But there's a 10-second delay, Jamie. So he might have beat you to it.
I'm saying I'm giving it. That's cool. Totally
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that one sounds fun. Well, we're going to stay in South Africa. And
Okay.
this one's called the Pinky Pinky Curse. This one sounds truly terrifying. A creature that attacks young girls and is said it's a creature that attacks young girls and is said to have a human face that's ugly, molted, and bald. If you look closely, the features become blurred, and all that can be seen are two pink colored eyes, hence Pinky Pinky. Pinky Pinky is believed to be half human and half creature and lives between the girls' and boys' bathrooms in local schools, often lurking unsuspecting children. So, again, another bathroom.
Mm-hmm. It's that space between the bathrooms, though.
Yeah, well, that goes back to like, excuse me, it goes back to Candyman. In the U.S. version, there was in the apartment building that the movie story is based off of. It's a true story to some degree. There is a service hallway between each side of the building, so maintenance folks are going to get to the access to the pipes of water, the
Mm-hmm.
HVAC and all that stuff. And a group of criminals found their way there, and they realized that the bathroom mirrors only need to be pushed through because their backs were in the hall, and they could access apartments. And having done so, one of the victims, called the police, but she wasn't deemed credible, and unfortunately, no one came until several days later. That's the superintendent or the maintenance guy came, and they found her, of course, deceased. So,
Right.
but she claimed that someone was breaking through the mirror, which is the tale of Candyman coming through the mirror in the movie, at least. So, it's possible
Mm-hmm.
that could be based on some reality of a real person doing so. All right, I like this one a lot. It's also in South Africa. It's called the Ghost Wagon. One of the creepier South African urban legends goes all the way back to 1887. Excuse me. Four men undertook a journey from Ceres to Beaufort West by wagon. This area is known as the Spokeveld, which is ghost region in English, and
Okay.
was even indicated as such in old African maps. That was literally a spot on the map where the ghost region. So how cool
Hmm.
is that, right?
That's pretty cool.
So during their trip, one of the wagons, one of the wagon wheels suddenly gave out, and it took them until around 3 a.m. to get it fixed. They were hardly on the road again when their horses became agitated and eventually froze in place, unwilling to move any further. From out of nowhere, the men heard the sound of a wagon coming towards them at high speed. When they finally caught sight of it, they witnessed the driver cracking the whip at 14 horses as the wagon headed directly for them. The driver grabbed the reins and successfully moved the wagon out of the path of the other speeding one. Annoyed, he yelled after the other driver, "Where do you think you're going to?" To which the other driver replied, "To hell." Then he and his wagon disappeared into thin air. It is said that anyone who dared challenge the spooky driver of the disappearing wagon will be doomed. A week after the incident, the driver of the first wagon was found at the bottom of a cliff. The remains of his wagon and the carcasses of his dead horses surround him. Bum, bum, bum.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and just because South Africa is a creepy place, let's do one more.
Okay. Why
Why
not?
not, right? All right, this one's called the Tokoloshe. The Tokoloshe are poltergeists that look like gremlins. And any of us 80s kids, you know what they look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. They are said to have been created by a Zulu shaman whenever someone offended them. Tokoloshe become invisible by drinking water, and the legends were that they caused mischief, bit off people's toes in their sleep, and even raped women. The only way to keep the Tokoloshe is away is to put a brick under each leg of the bed when you go to sleep. Why
Okay.
not? Why not? It's something.
It just gives them more room to get under your bed.
It's true. So true. Well, I'll tell you, if they were created by the shaman who, when someone offended them, I would be making these things like left and right. You get a tokoloshe. You get a tokoloshe. I'm like Oprah handing them out here.
Uh
You
huh.
get one. You get one. So I don't know.
Mm.
Fun.
Hmm.
All right. So let's move a little further to the east and go to the United Arab Emirates,
Okay.
and we're going to talk about our old friends, the jinn. So we did an episode here as well
Good.
back in season one. It's out there for all to find. It's a little slightly different variation than what we talked about, though. The jinn are a supernatural creature from Arabic folklore, and the al Duwais is the most famous. Said to be a beautiful woman covered in gold and smelling of rich Arabic perfumes, she would call to men in an alluring voice. Those that followed discovered her true identity, an old witch, so scary the men dropped dead on sight. So,
Hmm.
not too far off from La Siguanaba,
Right.
obviously around the world from there, but the idea of someone, the lust takes over, and
Right. Again, there's a lot of similarities in different parts of the world with some of these stories.
absolutely. And these are from times when the world wasn't as small as it is now. That's also interesting.
Right.
Excuse me. All right, so we're going to India for the next one.
Okay.
The abandoned village of Kaldahara. The abandoned village of Kaldahara in India is said to be haunted by ghosts. This urban legend claims that the prime minister of the region ordered the daughter of the village elder to marry him. Rather than obey, the proud villagers simply disappeared, leaving only a curse on the village. It's said that anyone who tries to stay here is haunted by the whispers and screams of the old villagers.
Hmm.
Okay, now we're going to go to Nepal and the Yeti. So let's begin with the who's probably the second most urban legend besides Bigfoot, which theoretically still is maybe a Yeti. Who knows?
Right.
Just blending into their environment. So the the Yeti is believed to be a 6 to 8 foot tall, muscular ape-like figure descending from Sherpa folklore. It's apparently so elusive it can only survive in high altitudes. An origin story claims that the Yeti is a glacial spirit who brings fortune to hunting parties, and another says it is akin to the boogeyman, as a myth used to scare people from venturing too deeply into the mountains. So,
Hmm.
but we've heard tales of Yetis and Bigfoots and all the variants of both time out of
Yep.
hand.
Yep.
All right. Now we're going to head down to Australia for a little while.
Down
And this
under.
one, down under.
All right.
Crikey. I had to say it. Sorry. All right. This one's called the Bunyip. The Bunyip is an Australian mythological creature and describes as a cross of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster. Let's just get all the cryptids in one. It
I'm
lives in billabongs, which are small water holes. Some indigenous Australians tell a story that its feet are on backwards. So while you might think that you're tracking the bunyip, really you've already crossed paths with it, and it's watching you the whole time, just concealed in the bush.
interesting. That's the second one tonight with backwards feet.
Yes. The next is for the Sydney Harbor Bridge. We've all seen this, right? The Sydney Opera House, this gorgeous wide span bridge. Building this architectural masterpiece in the 1920s and 30s was no easy feat, and unfortunately, many people fell to their deaths while doing so. There is a persistent urban legend that three men fell into the bottom of the brick pylons and were never retrieved. Could it be that the masses of tourists that are stepping over their entombed workers who created it? Possibly.
Hmm.
I'll give you a fun fact, sir, and I know you know where this is, but here in the south central Pennsylvania region, we have the Susquehanna River that passes through here,
Right.
and the town that I'm closest to, and the crossing of the river that we're closest to, is in a town called Columbia, between Columbia and Wrightsville, and it's the Veterans Memorial Bridge there.
Right.
At one point, it was the longest concrete span bridge in the world, and is still number two only passed by a bridge in China somewhere back in the 60s or 70s. I forget when. But there's an urban legend here in this relation that because it's concrete,
Uh huh.
there were many forms that were made, pour in the concrete to create the bridge. And in
Right.
doing that, several people, no actual number was given, but several men have fallen in and weren't able to be returned from, regained,
Right.
retrieved is the word I want, quickly before they sunk through like quicksand into the concrete
Into the
and
concrete. Yeah.
are entombed there on that bridge as well. So think about that every time you run over to Wrightsville
Mm, I take the other bridge.
or take the other bridge, right? All right. Also from Australia, this one's called the Poinciana Woman. Poinciana Woman.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a trigger warning on this one too, so bear with me. Somewhat of a violent story.
Okay.
So, one of the most unsettling urban myths to come out of Australia tells the story of a young woman who was raped by Japanese fishermen at Darwin's East Point. When she realized she was pregnant, she was horrified and hanged herself from a poinciana tree. Shortly after, and ever since, her restless spirit started stalking men in East Point, appearing to them as a beautiful vision in white. However, as soon as the men are entranced by her, she turns into a fearful hag with long claws and eviscerates them and eats their intestines. For
Hmm.
those who are brave, the Poinciana woman can be summoned by spinning around 3 times on a dark moonlit night and calling out her name.
Nope.
Her distinctive scream will let you know that she has been successfully summoned.
Nope.
Nope.
Not doing it.
That is a negative road trip right there.
Yeah.
But similar to, again, I'll go back to La Ciguanaba, same
Exactly.
idea. A woman wronged, perhaps by her own doings, perhaps by someone else's, and becomes a vision of a beautiful woman, enticing men to her. Once she does, she turns to something totally different. In the case of La Ciguanaba, is a horse-headed woman in rags, and
Hmm.
takes her victim. So creepy. All right.
Yeah.
Also in Australia, this one's called the Namrorador. What is known in most countries as a meteor is described in northern Australia as the eye of an evil spirit. Aboriginal residents here believe that an evil spirit known as Papanjurari or Thuwatutu, or in our case, Namrorador, reaches out with long claws as it makes its way across the dark night sky, looking for souls and praying for those who are near death. Namorordor is also referred to as a flying serpent, and the legend of it has been passed down through the years. It is said that this evil being can also take the form of a kangaroo or even a horse and makes makes sounds resembling the wind. In order to avoid a run in with Namorordor, meat should never be cooked outside at night because the smell will lead it to attack from the bushes. When it does attack, its favorite prey is unprotected babies. Of course it is, right?
Because
Jeez.
yeah.
Rips out their hearts and then flies away with their bodies. It is therefore imperative that if babies are included in a camping group or have to sleep outside near bushes for whatever reason, they must be turned on their stomachs or on their sides so that Namorordor cannot reach their hearts. In order to permanently get rid of Namorordor, the services of a witch doctor must be called upon. The witch doctor will then kill the evil spirit with a special spear.
So the gist of this story is don't cook meat outside because you're going to attract beasts,
Don't
wild
go
beasts.
outside. Just don't let your kids outside.
Well, but if you're camping, I mean, I think reference camping. So like,
Yeah,
don't cook at night, and
who
it.
takes a baby camping? I don't know. I mean, maybe
I,
it's an Australian thing. I don't
I don't know.
know. What a
That's
great.
how that's where Crocodile Dundee came from. He was a little tyke who got
That explains it. There it
yeah.
is. All right. He survived it. Now he's the tough dude. All right. We're leaving the continent down under. We're going to the Philippines.
Okay.
And this one is the Manin. I can't. This has got too many consonants, not enough vowels. Manananggal, I believe. These are more comparable to vampires as they do suck blood, but also eat the insides of their victims right after. It is said that at night these monsters separate from their torsos from their legs. I'm sorry, and kind of just leave it there. They then fly off into the night with their bat-like wings in search of children. Again, kids.
Yeah.
In the day, they appear as normal village women who act like regular women. Because why wouldn't they? And the only way to kill them is by looking for their legs at night and sprinkling a bunch of salt over them, over their unattended body parts. This tale used to keep children home effectively at night. So
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. But you gotta add salt, Jamie,
you gotta
because
have salt, right? Because it's the spice of life. All right, we're going to Indonesia, and this one is called Wiwi Gambel. Wiwi means girl, and Gambel is a hill in a city near Semarang. Wiwi Gambel is a haunted spirit that takes the form of a girl with very long boobs, longer than her legs. Wiwi Gambel was the wife who caught her husband cheating before she killed him. She believed her husband cheated on her because she was sterile, starting her hatred towards kids. See, that would make sense. Finally,
yeah,
one of these makes some kind of sense.
no,
All right. Right after she murdered her husband, the people from her village chased her away before she decided to end her life. Legend has it that if children go outside at dusk, she will kidnap them. She turns fecal matter into her victims' favorite foods and then feeds her victims it, so they become mute before people eventually find them. Local adult people sing a special song when they go around the village to find the kidnapped children who suddenly appear out of thin air when Wiwi Gumball decides to return them.
gross. But Jamie, Bert has figured out why it's children.
Ah, that's right. They are definitely more tender. I mean, as we age, we get gristly and brittle. So, all right, I'm with you on that one. All right, going to Malaysia. This one's called Janet's Ghost. During the late 1960s, a young woman named Janet went missing from Kuching, Malaysia. She was a nurse at the time, and her disappearance, along with many others, was thought to have something to do with the construction of the Satok Bridge. The general belief was if the construction of the bridge was halted for any reason, it would anger territorial spirits. Therefore, virgin girls had to be sacrificed by means of decapitation. Of course, why not?
Hmm.
Their heads would then be immersed into the pillars of the bridge. Since Janet's remains were eventually found sans her head, the consensus was that she too had become a virgin sacrifice. Her parents dressed her in red and had her buried. However, Janet came back for vengeance. Of course. Wearing her red burial outfit and shoes, she started appearing to unsuspecting bikers on the outer parts of Kuching. She would hitchhike until one of them offered her a lift, only to disappear at the end of the journey, leaving behind a stinking rotten stain on the seat. Sightings of Janet were also reported from a ferry traveling across the Sarawak River. As soon as the ferry reached its destination, the red clad figure disappeared from it, and any money on the ferry turned to leaves. The ghost of Janet strikes terror into the hearts of Kuching residents to this day, with ferry operators refusing to work after 10 p.m. and people refusing to call her by her name. Incidentally, the Satok Bridge collapsed in 2004.
Hmm. So
Janet.
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 So I just want to point out Erica joined us, Jamie. She's taking a break from drone chasing. We're going to need to get an update a little bit later on the drones.
The drone thing is a Jersey pastime now, apparently. So, and it's bleeding a little bit into eastern Pennsylvania. But every night,
Yeah.
and for most of the night, there have been large swarms of drones, some very large drones by themselves, all kinds of stuff. So you're missing out on this. It's quite high drama, and no
Hmm.
one seems to figure out where they're coming from and what they're up to. So, and some are even over military installations and such. So that's kind of a concern.
Yeah.
But all over. So yeah, it's a thing. So Eric, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're taking a break. This is going to be way cooler than that. So the next one, we're going to go to South Korea,
Okay.
and this one's a bit gruesome. So bear with me. The tale recounts the story of a Korean teenager named Haruko who got home late one evening after doing homework at the library. Arriving at the building where she lived, she pressed the elevator button for the 14th floor, eager to get inside her apartment. Just as she got into the elevator and the doors started closing, a man ran up and stopped the doors so that he could get in beside her. He pressed the button for the 13th floor.
Of course.
Okay. Haruko couldn't stop staring at this very handsome stranger. When he got out on the 13th floor, he said, "See you?" To which she replied, "Yes, see you." Just before the doors closed completely, an astonished Haruko saw the man pull a knife from his jacket and heard him yell, "Upstairs!" And then he ran toward the staircase opposite the elevator. Panicking, Haruko tried to stop the elevator from reaching her floor by pounding on all the buttons. Unfortunately, she got there in no time, and the doors opened to reveal the grimacing maniac standing right in front of her. Haruko's body was later discovered in the elevator, and she had been stabbed to death. Bah, bah,
Okay.
bah.
Hmm. So, Bert had a comment on the drones.
Okay.
It's a
A future
future.
urban legend. There it is. It's happening. We're in it. We're in this one. Or at least Erica is. So cool. All right. Let's go to China. Why not?
Okay.
All right. And this one's called Beijing's Ghost Bus. A country as big as China has a lot of urban legends. I'm going to be clear on that. And I didn't
Hmm.
get all of them, of course, because we'd be here all night. But this one recounts the last journey of the 302 bus to Flagrant Hills. A man boards the bus on a dark and stormy night, and it's soon flagged down by two men carrying another with long, messy hair. Fearing for her life, an old lady fabricates an argument with another passenger, and they get thrown off this bus. Only later do they realize she saved their lives. The bus is found in a reservoir and these with three dead bodies: the driver, the conductor, and the man with long, unkept hair.
Okay.
Yeah, leave it there.
Wow.
The next is called the single braid. And during Ghost Month in China, and this is the thing, I've looked it up, it's September every year. So, road trip to China in September, why not?
Plane trip.
Plane trip, yeah, sorry. Lots of ghost stories and urban legends are shared between residents as per tradition in September. One of the creepiest ones involves a girl referred to as Single Braid. The story goes that Single Braid is called so because her long braided hair tried to sneak into Hong Kong with her boyfriend. They got on a train to the city, but the girl freaked out when police officers boarded the train and randomly started checking for ID documents from the riders. Being an illegal immigrant, she decided to jump from the train while it was still in motion. Her braid got stuck in the window frame as she jumped through it. This caused her hair to be ripped clean off her scalp along with the skin on her face. She managed to get as far as the road, which is now called Single Braid Road, before
Mhm.
she gave up and died. The next day, she was discovered lying in a pool of congealed blood. Her boyfriend never returned to find out her fate and simply continued his life as if she never existed. Sightings of a ghost girl started cropping up in the area. One male student had a particularly horrifying experience. Walking down Single Braid Road, he noticed a girl just standing there with her back to him. He noticed that her hair was undone and her hair was done in a long braid down her back. He called out to her to find out if everything was all right, but she did not respond. Reaching her, he touched her shoulder to get her attention. She turned around, and the young man was shocked to find that she had no face, and then she vanished right in front of his eyes. Bah, bah, bah.
Yeah. He was a jerk for
Okay.
not checking on her in the first place.
Yeah, what the heck, man? Like, seriously, who does that? All right, we're going to Japan.
All
We're
right.
almost there. We're almost done. Coming around the world here. Excuse me. So, this one is called Hanako san. This tale is about an elementary school girl who committed suicide from being bullied. The way Hanako san works is to go to the third stall in the girl's bathroom and summon her by knocking on the door three times, saying, Hanako san, abashimashu, which means let's play Hanako san. Hanako san. It usually becomes really quiet, and you hear hi, which is yes in Japanese. Then she will either drag the person into the stall and kill them, or the doors open a little so the person can be revealed to Hanako-san. Either way, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
It's another one of your bathroom ones, Jamie. I.
It's not my bathroom ones. They're out there in the world. All right, this one's interesting. It's called the suicide drawing.
Okay.
In this urban legend, a teenage Japanese girl drew a beautiful color picture of a young girl who seemingly stares directly at you. The teen posted the picture online, and for some unknown reason, committed suicide shortly thereafter. Soon, excuse me. Soon, people started commenting online that they could see sadness and even anger in the eyes of the drawn girl. Others said that her lips would start curling into a smirk the longer you looked at her, and a ring would form around her. Some people took it even further, saying that there were unfortunate souls who stared at the picture for more than 5 minutes and ended up taking their own lives as well. So we are going to in the new year talk about Woman in the Rain, a
Hmm.
painting that has similar tale. So, but
Okay.
it's I find it interesting. I mean, it's like, and not to say this isn't something, right?
Right.
But I mean, if you look at art long enough, any kind of art, you start to see more than just the details of what you're seeing. You start to engage it more. I think you can pick up things like this because your mind starts to activate a little differently, and it's possible that it is truly a creepy thing.
Well, isn't that what a good artist is? Is they can draw you into the painting,
Yes,
or
thank you, sir.
the whatever their work medium is. Yeah.
Yeah, I draw stick figures, so I will never have that happen to anybody. But uh, yeah, okay, last one. You
Okay.
ready?
Well, Bert's a little disappointed.
No, I don't. And we'll get to when we do the Woman in the Rain. We'll show that one for sure. Okay, last one, and this one's called the Tiki Tiki, and I'm going to put another trigger warning on this one. It's a little graphic.
Okay.
Okay, a female office worker was raped and beaten by American military men in Hokkaido a few years after World War II. The young woman jumped off a bridge that evening and was hit by a train on the railroad tracks below. Her body was severed in half at the waist. As the extremely cold weather prevented her from bleeding out immediately, she managed to drag her upper half to a train station where a shocked attendant threw a plastic tarp over her. She eventually died in extreme agony. Urban legend has it that 3 days after you hear or read about this tale, the ghost of a young woman will appear to you, making a tiki tiki sound as she crawls toward you on her arms. You cannot outrun her, as she can reach speeds of up to 150 kilometers or 93 miles an hour about. Her mission is to catch as many people as she can. Then she will cut off and steal the lower halves of their bodies. The only way to escape certain death is to answer her questions. So, Chad,
Okay.
if she asks you whether you need your legs, you must reply that you need them right now.
Okay.
And if she asks you who told you her story, you must answer Kashima Reiko.
I'm never going to
It is-
remember that.
That's urban legend in Japanese.
Okay. Okay. I'm still not going to remember that.
All right, well, I'm gonna miss you. I'm on day 5 or 6 or 7 of this tale, so I'm gonna go debunked, but
Uh-huh.
you just never know. So,
All right.
all right, before we discuss any of this fun stuff, I'm gonna cite some sources. I found a lot of cool stuff on BuzzFeed.com, SoulGuard.com, and ListFirst.com.
Okay.
And a little bit of this goes back to our original as well, so I'll cite myself as a source.
Okay.
Our original episode number 33 back in
Right.
season 1. So,
So
oh, sir, the world is a weird place, isn't it?
it is. Now I'm going to put this up.
Oh, yeah.
Erica posted this when we were talking about the art, which is interesting. It is probably similar to scrying, looking into it and sort of hitting that transcendental state of whatever. But yeah, it's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It makes sense.
So, I mean,
Well,
I can't give you a summary of those, Jamie. You did like 50
no, I
some.
know, I know. Did any one of them stand out more than the other, or
I mean, no, but again, there seem to be thematic things throughout
yeah,
all the stories. There were ones that seemed to theme together, and which, again, it's interesting because, like you said, a lot of these came from before the world was a global
yep.
place.
Well, and the thing is that, and we talked about this last time around too.
Hmm.
A lot of times urban legends are created as behavior modifiers.
Right.
You don't want somebody to do something, or you do either way.
Hmm.
And therefore you come up with a fantastical tale. And obviously I think people with creative or bizarre sometimes sense of storytelling and humor come up with these things and just to spout something and then it sticks. You never know what's going to stick, right?
Right.
So the classic tales of what if no one was interested in hearing about some creature that was made by parts of other people and hit with electricity and came alive. That's Frankenstein, right?
Right.
you know, or some dude who drinks blood turns into a bat. I mean, that's fantastical. What if that never stuck and we don't have Dracula?
Right.
That's kind of the point. You just never know. And urban legends are those things. They're just not documented
Hmm.
in a tale like an author would have created. They're
Right.
lore. And I will tell you this because we've all played the telephone game or whisper down the lane or whatever you want
Hmm.
to call that thing where you start over there with one phrase and by the time it ends at the other end of the line, it's something uniquely different.
Right.
Yeah, every time you, and you said this really well back then, I think, on the episode for Urban Legends, but every time you remember something, it changes because it's a copy.
Right.
So, pardon my tissue there, I'm sorry. So, that part of all of this, how it just became, was this, and now it's become that. We don't know what the original was anymore. It's such a
Right.
copy of a copied copy that, it could have been something very, very less than what it is now,
Right.
a precautionary tale, perhaps even, and now it's become fantastic.
Right.
So I
Uh,
find that the most interesting of all of this.
right. I'm going to put up Bert's comment here. It seems like it's always women luring men to their deaths, not the other way around. Does that prove that men are that stupid?
In a word, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, and it's kind of one of those things. And I'm a guy, so bear with me on this. But men get excused for bad behavior all the time. And here it is to say this is another one of those things. It's a behavior modification. Don't do it.
Right.
You know, and if you're smart and listening, you're not going to. Hopefully, but you have that problem where
Hmm.
men do stupid stuff like this, and a lot of these tales were of rape and violence and so forth. That's sadly
Right.
that's really the root cause of the issue, um, not the outcome.
Right.
The causality is the problem.
Hmm.
I am. I will say this too. Like some of the tales I've heard before. And it's interesting because I haven't heard the around the world version. I've heard the domestic version.
Right.
You know, but my favorite really is Baba Yaga. Just because it's such a cool tale of like it's Hansel and Gretel to some degree.
Hmm.
The Witch in the Woods. And then we'll get to those kind of tales in another episode, down the line later this season. But the idea that if you go out into the woods alone, you're going to find, and you're not doing, you're not supposed to be there. Something bad's going to happen to you.
Hmm.
Again, changing your behavior, trying to get you not to go somewhere where you shouldn't be, or listen to the adults.
Right.
You're told not to, so don't do it. This is what's going to happen if you do. All that stuff.
Right.
And the baby in the high chair was another one.
Uh huh.
Outstandingly fantastic, but yet somewhat maybe possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I
who
mean,
lives to
that's one
be?
of those. You just make sure you've got everything lined up before you walk away.
Yeah, exactly. It's a cautionary tale.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Bert's comment here was, but they're usually trying to help when they get trapped. I think that just proves to their
Yeah.
gullibility.
Are they though? Are they really trying to quote help?
I think it's more they're thinking about something else.
Yes.
So
They're trying to help themselves, perhaps.
yeah, we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, good episode, Jamie. Lots of little stories there to look at and pick apart. And I mean, I think this is when we're gonna have to go back and review some of the stories just to get the full gist of them.
Sure.
So.
And the fun thing is, for as much as there is a story here, there's more, you know,
Hmm.
and more and more and more. This is just the tip of the iceberg and even when we did the US version, I think we probably dropped 35 or 40 of them there too. There were exactly 39 here,
Okay.
38 here. So we did about 30, I think, in the US version,
Okay.
back in the day. So, and again, tip of the iceberg for what's out there for us.
Right.
Um, and they just don't go away. So
Right.
that's the cool thing.
True.
They'll always be there. So there might be another episode again, version 3 or episode 3 of Urban Legends down the line. Maybe next
Okay.
season. We'll give it some time to
Yeah.
rest for a little while.
We can't call that one international though.
Yeah, we have to call it something global,
Global,
something.
galactic.
Volume 3, Galactic. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe next year we'll have the aliens here to tell us their tales. I
True.
don't know.
So
That's what all these drones in Jersey are about.
could
Maybe.
be.
I don't
We
know.
never know. So
Maybe.
well,
All right.
should we wrap it up, Jamie, and talk about what's coming up?
Yeah, it's probably time to do so. So
All
again,
right.
thanks for indulging me on this. I do
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
it.
I know you enjoy it. It's been fun hearing about all the stories. But next week we're gonna do something a little different, but sort of along the same lines.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk about holiday hauntings, which you don't usually put. Well, let me put it this way: in American culture, you don't usually put um, spooky with Christmas and Hanukkah and things like that. You think of joyous and all that fun stuff, but that
Okay.
is not the tradition from the Victorian era.
Nope.
So we're going to delve into that a little bit, go into a little bit of the history, but then I'm just going to sum it up with maybe three or four of those classic, um, classic stories from the past. So
Cool.
see if I
Good.
can find a couple good ones to share with everybody just before Christmas.
Perfect.
And then that will be our last episode for the year
Yeah.
because we're going to
Wow.
take 2 weeks off. We're going to take the holiday break. The 24th is Christmas Eve. The 31st is New Year's Eve. So we're going to take those days off, spend it with family and friends. Not that you guys aren't our family and friends, but we're not going to be here.
Right.
So we'll take a break.
We're gonna come visit each and every one of you. Don't worry. We'll bring cookies and eggnog.
No,
Or what's
mm,
the what's the what's the what's the other stuff nobody likes?
fruitcake or
Fruitcake. Yeah. No,
yeah.
not gonna happen.
So
Never ever.
so anyway, but in January we'll be back January 7th with Jamie's going to be there with the Women of the Rain painting.
Mm-mm.
Then I'll be with next one will be Huldel Folk.
Of
I,
course,
I
you did say
Hul-
that 3 times fast.
Huldel Folk, which is we get into the Icelandic era or region. Then Robert the Doll, we got this corrected. Jamie will be doing Robert the Doll on the 21st. And then the 28th of January, I will be looking at the Philadelphia experiment. So,
Fantastic. It's
so
called
yeah,
the process, right? That's what the Sixers were doing, the Philadelphia experiment,
y-
tanking all those seasons to get high draft picks.
sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, let's
Nope,
no
nope,
something
something
different.
else. Okay.
So we will get into that in January. We've got things scheduled for quite a while, but if you've got something you want us to talk about, let us
Yep,
know. Um,
absolutely.
we will be working our way through. We've got a whole bunch of the episodes lined up the whole way through April. When then we'll get into some pre-investigation and then hopefully some post-investigation for Tala, our tip to Trala. Tala, blah. Say that 10 times
What
fast.
does TALA stand for, sir?
Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum.
It's a lot easier to say TALA, isn't it?
It is. So
Oh, it's that's I don't want to wish away time because it's precious, right?
uh-huh,
But man, early April can't come fast enough. So
exactly. So
looking forward to this one. Been looking forward to this one for a very long time, actually.
mhm.
I'm finally getting to go. So yes,
so
yes, yes, yes.
so yep. Um, So here's all the social medias you can reach us through. I have added something at the bottom of this. It's our link tree, which is linktr.ee/paranormal lens. And that will sum up all of our social medias and has our new paranormal lens TikTok account under that. So check that out. Starting to share some um, what do we want to call it? Previews or I don't know, something each week on the show that's coming up. So we're
We need
working on
one of
that.
the kids to tell us what that stuff's called.
Yeah, I don't know, but anyway, that's what we're doing. So hopefully you'll start seeing some stuff on there.
Yep, more to
So
come, as always.
yeah. So Jamie, what any closing thoughts? I mean, this is it until January. So
Well, we got one more yet, right?
oh
So
wait, yeah. Sorry,
you're bailing on that episode already. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's you're focused on your holiday shopping and your
I
gab.
am. Yeah. So.
Um, you know, no, but at this time of year we always get a little nostalgic. I start. I think anybody who's associated to one of the streaming services like Spotify gave you your list of the years,
Mhm.
last week or this or
Which
beginning of this.
which do you wanna call that out, Jamie, since you're talking about it?
Spotify, sure, it's a streaming service.
No,
It's
no,
free.
no, where the Paranormal Lens video podcast fell in that.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you for those who can see me, and for those who don't, I'll verbalize what I did. But I opened that up, that you give you that little thing to look
The
at when
Wrapped.
you're in review, and it told us that Paranormal Lens was in the top 15% of the video podcasts available on Spotify around the world, and my jaw went like this. And if it was like Bugs Bunny, it would have hit the floor and rolled away.
Mhm.
Um, so we Chad and I. and our entire production team, which is Chad and I. Uh, we really want to say thank you for that. You know, we did this. We started this 85 or 6, whatever it is, episodes ago, not knowing what the hell we were doing, and we honestly still don't most days.
No.
Um, Here I am, you know, being all allergic tonight, trying not to sneeze and snobble all over the place and cough on you. You know, so we appreciate you hanging in with us through all of this. I know we've had some bad episodes with audio. We've had some technical stuff where things didn't show the way it was supposed to. But for everybody who's watched an episode along the way, we can't say thank you enough for sticking with us. There's bigger and better things to come. We might figure this stuff out eventually. But we are a live podcast, so and that's uniquely different, I think, from many others. Uh, you know, and there's nothing wrong with production value and you know making some really pretty things. We're
Hmm.
just not pretty people, so we're not
Right.
going to go there, at least not for a while, if ever. So, but thank
Yeah.
you all.
And
If we
it's
don't see you before the holidays, enjoy them. Take the
yeah.
time, spend it with your friends, your family, your loved ones. Um,
And it is due
be
to
good.
dedicated viewers like Heather here, who was decorating the tree, wrapping presents, ran the kids to their dad's house, all while carrying us both with her.
Oh
So
wow,
we really appreciate that, Heather. So thank you so much. Thank you to all our viewers out there who are with us live every week, and as you watch us on all the streaming services. So
absolutely. The wrapping presents mean you had to buy them already. What the heck? That's a doer right there. No, I don't
yeah,
know if we can be friends anymore. I didn't even think about this yet. Just kidding, Heather. We love you.
yeah,
So, yeah. But go get those gifts, everybody, and come back next Tuesday and then wrap them while you're listening and watching us. So, we'll look forward to seeing them.
yeah. So anything else, Jamie?
That's it.
All right.
Everybody have a
Well,
great week. We'll see you soon.
on that note, good night, everybody.